What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about some of the weirdest things about the UK. Today, I want to take a look at this Reddit discussion where somebody asked Brits who have spent a lot of time abroad, what are some of the things about the UK that used to seem normal to you, but now feel weird? so, so basically, a bunch of Brits have given their thoughts on the strangest parts of UK culture that they only realized were weird after spending time outside of the UK. And I thought it'd be very fun to check out some of the top comments here, some of the self-reflection, starting with using the word pot to describe money or a financial account. Is this a thing in the UK? Like a retirement pot, a pension pot, holiday savings pot. Is this a commonly used sort of word in the UK? I mean, I've heard the word pot used in some circumstances to talk about money, like a pot of money. Usually it's referring to gambling in the United States. Certainly not in regards to like a retirement pot or a pension pot or a savings pot. Really, I didn't know that. I have absolutely actually never heard that before, ever used that way. Is that common in the UK? That is kind of different. That is that's the thing about this discussion. It's like you can either call these things weird, which I think is what us Americans kind of tend to do when we see things done differently than we do it in the United States. We're like, that's weird. That's so weird. So yes, the use of the word pot is weird to me. Okay, this just sounds jarring. And to a lesser degree, schemes being used in a positive way to describe government initiatives? Is this true as well? This is another thing I've never heard used this way. Schemes? A government scheme? That sounds bad. Like in America, the word scheme has a very negative connotation associated with it, like you're scheming something. So in the UK, scheme can be normal. It's something the government does. That would really scare people if they heard that here in the US. Be like, the government is scheming, and then people in the UK are like, yeah, totally normal. Those are words I've never heard used that way. Okay, this is pretty fascinating so far. Some of the weirdest things about the UK. Let's keep going. Betting adverts everywhere. And, let me say, the use of the word advert. I know that's not the point of this one, but in America, we say advertisements. Advert. I didn't even know what that was for the longest time. Now I've heard it a few times. Betting adverts everywhere. Really? Multiple bookies on high streets? The way gambling is so normalized in society. I mean, there's some gambling that's advertised and marketed in the United States. Not a ton. So I can kind of relate to this, but bookies on high streets, like on every street corner, people gambling, it's very normalized. I wouldn't say gambling is a huge thing in the United States. Certainly if you're in Las Vegas, of course. This sounds a little more intense in the UK. I mean, don't get me wrong. Plenty of people gamble here in the United States. Plenty of people. I used to think Britain had a gambling problem until I moved to Australia. Really? Most pubs in the eastern states are just small casinos that serve beer. This is Australia states, not the United States. Okay. The average I was like, where are all these casinos? And they're in the pubs in Australia. Really? Huh. Okay. Well, we want weird things about the UK for now, but that is interesting. The UK may have a gambling problem, and Australia may have more of a gambling problem, and I'm pretty sure America kinda has a gambling problem, but so we're kind of splitting hairs here. How much of the population is overweight? Well, this would be weird. This would be a good one, if not for the fact that the United States outdoes the UK with this particular issue. Like, I don't know, I think like 70% of the US population is technically overweight. Like, yeah, no, there's technical scientific definitions where you can be technically overweight and still not even look bad, really. So we can kind of argue over the definition, but I'm pretty sure America is known as even weirder in terms of how unhealthy we are, how big our portions are, how much weird chemicals and preservatives are in our food. So, I don't know. I wasn't expecting this. This is supposed to be weird stuff about the UK. This happens to be the one thing that the US is weirder in, actually. Okay. Cards for everything. Birthday cards, Christmas cards, condolence cards, congratulation cards, entire shops just for cards, then needing stamps for them all and having piles and piles of cards. I mean, that's not that weird. I want like really really weird stuff in the UK. Yeah, it's like cards and holidays have become really commercialized, but I think that's like over a lot of countries all over the world, honestly. I don't know. The relentless amount of drinking we do, and how it is, much of it is at the center of our social interactions. This is interesting. This is actually making me like really self-reflective as an American, because some of this stuff is like I see some of the similarities between the UK and the US. Like this is people in the UK reflecting on weird things in the UK. This is making me think about how weird the United States is. Because we also, like, drinking is definitely important in American social society. It is at the center of a lot of our social interactions. I don't know what to think about this, because it really depends on what kind of person you are. It depends on if you're, like, in a big city where there's a lot of bars and nightlife. Um, I don't know. It depends on what kind of person you are in the United States. I wouldn't say everyone here is like super dependent on drinking, like being the center of the only way we can socialize. Is that, do people in the UK feel like it's always drinking when you're socializing? I agree, but it's not just the drinking, it's how socially acceptable and encouraged it is to be drunk. Ah. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like encouraged. You're not really encouraged to drink and be drunk in America. It's definitely socially acceptable. So this is a little weird. Like it sounds a little more extreme in the UK, especially when I think about how the UK has pub culture. Like there's pubs and that whole aspect of UK culture that doesn't exist here in America. Maybe that is weird to me. That's different. And I think that explains maybe how maybe it's true in the UK. Like are you actually encouraged to be drunk and drink just to socialize? Cuz that is extreme to me. Um okay. Drunk in public. Really? That's frowned upon in the United States. Like most people would frown upon it. Um, but again, it wouldn't be the craziest thing I've ever seen in America. Okay. it's worse when you consider it's normal to bully those who aren't drinking. Really, the more I read about these comments from people in the UK, this does seem more extreme, actually. Like, to a level that's probably not healthy? Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Wow. Let's keep going. Weird things about the UK. Using pop as a verb. Pop? Pop to the shops. Just pop that down there for me. Just popping by to say hello. I kind of like that. In America, we would understand what this means, but nobody really uses pop that like that. Definitely not that much. I've heard people say, "I'm just popping by," but not like I'm gonna pop to the shop. I'm gonna pop, just pop that down for me. I'd be like, "You want me to pop it? Like, get out a needle and like pop it, pop it like a balloon, or what do you want me to do to that gallon, that milk bottle? Pop it?" That might actually confuse me. So yeah, this is a bit strange. The usage of pop in that way. Talking about weather all the time. Really? Like in what context? Like as small talk? That's really kind of frowned upon in America, actually. That's funny. Talking about weather all the time? What's there to talk about? In America, if you start talking about the weather, it's literally a cliche. Like known and kind of stereotyped as being this thing that, oh, you're very awkward. You don't know what to say. If you start talking about the weather, that's bad. If you're talking about the weather in America, although some people still do it and it works, I suppose. But not all the time. Really? Spending an eye-watering amount of money to travel 30 minutes on the train? Well, at least you guys have trains. Here in America, like, there's no, like, infrastructure for trains or, like, a huge public transportation system that goes across the entire country. That sounds great. Even if it was a little costly, that'd be nice to have, I gotta say. So in the UK, where it's a little more normal to travel by train, 30 minutes is how much money? It's very expensive. That does kind of defeat the purpose, doesn't it, of public transportation? Because you might as well just like purchase your own car if it's expensive to take public transport. So I get where that could be annoying. Yeah, yeah. Spending an eye-watering amount of money on energy bills. This is interesting stuff. This is really specific, which I like. This is like real stuff that real people in the UK are like thinking about as weird. Why are energy bills so high in the UK? How high is high? Huh. Fitted carpets everywhere. What does that mean? Fitted carpets. What is a fitted carpet? I don't even really know what that means. Maybe I can Google this? Okay, fitted carpet, also wall-to-wall carpet, is carpet intended to cover the floor. Oh, yeah, this isn't weird. That's normal in the United States. Okay. The wonderful simplicity of the self-employed tax system? How it's simple? I think doing taxes in the UK... Yeah, I learned about this recently. It's a lot better. It's a lot better. If anything, the US is weird. How we do taxes, it's a nightmare. A nightmare! Okay, I gotta stop before I get down that rabbit hole. The casual atmosphere in most office environments. Really? Like how casual? This is so interesting. So specific. I mean, that sounds like a good thing. It might be weird how casual it is, but friendly, casual, like not taking things too serious in the office might be bad for the business, might be bad for the corporation, but sounds good for your mental health and I don't know, your work life. I like that actually. Conservatory extensions. No idea what that means. Conservatory extension, like in a house? This is showing me like this? Like a garden or a greenhouse attached to your home? Is this is that normal in the UK? Like a glass box attached to your home? That looks like a greenhouse. Conservatories are great though. You can pop in and they let you see what the weather is doing. Better than any type of room. That is what we're talking about. A glass conservatory built into your house. Is that normal in the UK? That sounds like a luxury. Like I'm I can really not even think the last time I saw one of those in a home in America. That's quite rare. Huh, I didn't even know what it was called. The sheer amount of takeaways, plus ready meals, and similar crap in the supermarkets. Yeah, aren't there a lot of, what do you call them in the UK? Like meal deals? Like a sandwich and drink and snack? You buy it from like a grocery store or a gas station, right? That's a thing, right? In the UK? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I've heard of this. These are plus ready meals. Yeah, that is a very UK thing. In the US, those types of meals, they try to make that a thing, but no one really buys them because it's considered bad, like low quality. Huh, but I guess it's considered normal in the UK and probably better, to be honest. Lack of cheap markets for getting fresh stuff, reliance on supermarkets and cars, even in cities where public transport is all right. That's sort of like America, honestly. Using a plastic basin in the sink for washing up is a classic and makes no sense. What is this thing? It's plastic basin. You put it in the sink. What does it do? this this is probably one of the best things so far. That is just weird to me. What is the purpose of that? It's big plastic basin in the sink. Why not just wash your stuff up in the sink? I don't know. I mean, this person says it makes no sense. Does anyone explain what this is? This is a particular UK demographic. Huh. Okay. Only some people in the UK do this. Very strange. Charity? In what sense? The constant money raising for things that should be funded by taxes seems odd. Oh, because I was going to say charity is like considered a very good thing in America, but if it's for causes that the government should be taking care of, that would be strange. Are there any examples of this in the UK where you're having to like raise charity funds for, I don't know, like projects around the UK that it feels like the government should be doing? That would be annoying to me if that were true. Oh, air ambulance? Yeah, that's strange. That's like healthcare. Shouldn't that be the government? RNLI? Okay, RLNI, Royal National Lifeboat Institution? What? Lifeboat search and rescue? Is that correct? Yeah, why would that be a publicly funded thing? Guide dogs? Yeah. Feeding people, children in particular. Yeah, that happens here in America. I never thought about how strange that actually is. Cuz you're just thinking, "Oh, that's such a good cause. That's such a good thing. Giving charity to these starving people." But then it's like, "Wait. They're starving in our own country. Why isn't our government like helping them?" That's one of the main purposes of having a government, you would think. That's a good point. this this is making me oddly self-reflective today as well. I like it. I was discussing this with my friends after seeing an advert on the train asking for donations toward air ambulances. It's not odd or sad, it's disgusting. Air ambulances, wow, seriously, that's a thing in the UK. They're trying to make you donate to air ambulances? Yeah, that should just be like available, That's really important. If you need air assistance, but ambulance, you're in deep trouble. Really? Yes, of course you can have a dentist appointment. What does that mean? Am I missing something? What does that mean? For me, it's how blasé people are about their healthcare. Really? My friend is like, I've been having weird periods of bleeding for 3 months. and I'm like, well, what did your gynecologist say? What gynecologist? So people in the UK aren't, like, taking proactive measures about their health? That is weird, but I think people do that in America too. How insular the news and media are? Insular. What does insular mean exactly? Ignorant and uninterested of cultures and ideas outside of one's own experience. It's a good word. How insular the news and media are. Yeah, our news and media are pretty bad in the US too. How awful the high streets look. The high streets, this word again. I'm not sure what that means exactly. How friendly and informal people are. I kind of like that. How much traffic there is. How towns look the same. How good the trains are. Some of this stuff is good, like weird, but good. Like how good the trains are. Towns looking the same. Anything else here? I'm going to scroll down a little bit. How uninformed folks are about what's going on outside of the UK. Don't even get me started about that. Okay, I think that's a pretty good place to stop, actually. Because, funny enough, there was some pretty interesting stuff here about weird things about the UK. How the UK does do things quite differently. And very specific things as well, which I thought was really interesting. Not like surface level stuff. This was quite detailed. Experiences of actual people in the UK. But also what kind of surprised me is how many of these weird things kind of are very much happening in the United States as well. And I didn't even think about how weird some of these things are. Not what I expected, actually, but I actually quite enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any weird things in the UK that were said here today, or your own opinion on weird things in the UK. That'd be fun to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to the UK and UK culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.